Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison stated in her book, Unflinching Courage, contributions by women in the building of the state were crucial in the resulting spirit. To call those women rugged and resilient would be an understatement. Annie Riggs was one such woman. I visited the Annie Riggs Memorial Museum at Fort Stockton on a day in mid-June 2025 when it was 100 degrees before noon. In all that arid, unforgiving landscape of West Texas, with its endless stretches of sun-baked earth and sparse vegetation, she was able to bring civility to her patrons at the turn of the last century. Born November 24, 1861, near Las Cruces, New Mexico, Anna Stella was the first child of George M. and Mary Edgar Frazier. The family moved to Fort Stockton after the Civil War. On June 16, 1877, Annie married James Johnson at St. Joseph Catholic Church in Fort Stockton. Johnson was one of the first sheriffs in Pecos County. While bearing 6 children, Annie ran the Johnson Hotel, a popular boarding house. By the late 1880s, the marriage failed and James moved to Toyah. In 1891, Annie married Barney Kemp Riggs in a civil ceremony. Riggs was considered by many to be a gunman. He was serving a life sentence for murder in the Arizona Territorial Penitentiary at Yuma. When a riot broke out at the prison, Riggs saved the warden's life and was later pardoned by the governor, although told to leave the territory and never return. Annie brought 4 children into the often turbulent marriage. Barney brought a son from a previous marriage in Arizona, and together they had 4 children. Annie was granted a divorce in 1901. Her son-in-law, Buck Chadbourne, was named as trustee for Annie's settlement. Barney had threatened Buck's life, and on April 7, 1902, Buck shot Barney in self-defense. Annie had her ex-husband carried to the Collier Hotel, now the Annie Riggs Museum, where she sat with him until he died the next day. Barney Riggs did not leave a will, and the courts awarded his estate to Annie. She used those assets to purchase the Collier Hotel in 1904 for $5,000. She paid $3,000 down and the rest on terms. She changed the hotel to the Riggs Hotel, and she operated it until the time of her death on May 17, 1931, at the age of 70. The rate for a bed, not a room, was 50 cents. Family-style meals were 35 cents. Baths were available at the bathhouse at Comanche Springs. Annie initially operated the facility as a hotel and then as a boarding house. After her death, one of her sons, Ernest, with wife Tina, operated the boarding house into the 1940s. Various family members resided in parts of the building during the Depression years and later. In 1955, 14 heirs of Annie Frazier Johnson Riggs deeded the old hotel to the Fort Stockton Historical Society to be operated as a museum, which opened in November of the same year. One of the rooms at the museum showcases a desk that originally sat in the 1883 Pecos County Courthouse and has quite a story surrounding it. Sheriff A.J. Royal was murdered while sitting at the desk in 1894, and his bloodstains remain in a drawer. Although no one was indicted for the crime, it was common belief that several prominent Fort Stockton businessmen drew straws to determine who would kill the controversial sheriff. Barney Riggs led a colorful and many times unlawful existence in the Wild West. He was once part of the posse deputized by corrupt Cochise County Sheriff Johnny Behan to go after Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and other gunmen during the infamous Vendetta Ride, following the gunfight at the OK Corral in October of 1881 and Morgan Earp's murder on March 18, 1882. Barney killed a man in Arizona for saying he seduced Barney's first wife. He was also a horse thief and was arrested several times for public drunkenness, unlawfully carrying a pistol, and assault. It is also unclear if he divorced his first wife before marrying Annie. When she finally had her fill of his antics and separated from Barney, he pulled a number of stunts and constantly harassed her when he was intoxicated. When finally granted a divorce, Barney was required to make child support payments. Annie's 21-year-old son-in-law, Daniel Buck Chadbourne, was named as the trustee to handle the payments. Barney resented Chadbourne's involvement and was quick to loudly berate the young man at every opportunity. A year later, Chadbourne petitioned the court to relieve him of the responsibilities. Still furious, Riggs beat him with a cane in April of 1902. The very next day, Riggs again approached the young man. When Riggs made a threatening move toward Chadbourne, he shot Riggs in the chest.